Next week, Monday, February 2nd, a week from today. My, how history repeats itself. Talk about the Balco riots, strikes of 1965. Next week, Monday, marks 50 years. They asked me how much do I think things have changed between 1965 and now. And all I said is that when you look at some of the things that the workers are going through today, they're not much different than what they were back in 1965. But certainly once we got this ladder on Friday, the TUC quickly went into organization mode and decided, what should we do about the contents of this ladder? The letter is addressed to Chris Ferret, First Vice President of the Trade Union Congress. The government is grateful for the collaborative work of the Bermuda Trade Union Congress as part of the budgeted reduction working group to find savings in expenditure for 2015-2016. Your efforts realized proposals for savings of approximately $35 million. Based on hiring freeze and reductions in the rates of overtime, a further $5 million is estimated to be saved in addition to the one recognized by the working group. Clearly, this collaborative approach has been fruitful, realizing an estimate $40 million, and the government is appreciative of your willingness to work together for the good of Bermuda. As you are aware, in an effort to improve Bermuda's physical condition, the government has established a medium-term expenditure framework, which requires us to reduce the government's expenditure by 7%, 5%, and 3% in successive years. In order to achieve the necessary targets, the savings achieved in each year must be maintained in the next years. You will be keenly aware that the 7% reduction achieved on the current budget year was only achieved with the inclusion of furlough day by government employees. Listen to this next sentence very carefully. It is imperative that this furlough be continued in order for the Bermuda's financial health to improve in accordance with the medium-term expenditure framework. Hello? Okay. You would also be aware that the government is required to present a budget to Parliament, have a debate, and approved by both houses of the legislature in order for any funds to be expended after the 31st of March 2015. Please listen very, very carefully to this next sentence, and I'm going to read it twice so you don't miss it. To be clear, unless a budget is approved as described by that deadline, the government will not be able to operate, requiring all services to be suspended and all staff to be sent to him unable to be paid.
Wow.
Rewind.
Oh, really? Wow.
Let's quiet down.
Bring out your swords.
To be clear, unless a budget is approved as described by that deadline, the government will not be able to operate, requiring all services to be suspended and all staff to be sent to him unable to be paid.
All staff? Well, let it be. All staff.
This is almost done. We've got about another maybe 8 or 10 lines. In order to meet the 31st of March 2015 deadline, the budget development process must conclude with immediacy. That means like yesterday. To that end, we invite you to reconsider your position with regard to continuation of furlough. Now, listen to the next other words. If you are unable to agree to continue the furlough, the government will be forced to take steps to achieve the necessary reduction in expenditure for 2015-2016.
Can you repeat that?
If you are unable to agree to continue the furlough, the government will be forced to take steps to achieve the necessary reduction in expenditure for 2015-2016. Listen to the next statement because this will drive you out of your mind. And please don't let it. Such measures could include a reduction in salary of government employees equal to the savings achieved in the current fiscal year by furlough. The final here's how the letter finishes. We invite your serious consideration of this position and look forward to hearing from you as soon as possible. Given the urgency of the matter, we respectfully request a decision by Monday, the 26th of January 2015 at 12 o'clock noon, which is today.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. You heard the letter. You heard its contents. Disrespectful to say the least. The BTUC engaged in a working group with the Bermuda government. The purpose of the working group was so we can work collectively together to find the core savings that the Minister of Finance was looking for. We worked together with the government to avoid job losses and pay cuts. We went to the table with clean hands and a good heart. The BTUC submitted proposals in the range of $65 to $85 million in core savings. The government official vetted our proposals, and then they said they can live with about $37 million of what we put on the table. In those meetings, after we finished presenting our proposals, we asked the government to come forward with the numbers that would be submitted from the respective department heads. Collectively, they submitted $5 million in core savings. Inadequate, disrespectful, mere, you can call it whatever you want. How do you work with somebody for over a month, never mention furlough days, and then kick them in the tail on the way out? We were contacted after that to say we were sure then that the negotiators will be contacting us. We immediately called a meeting with the Premier to say what the negotiators have got to say to us. The same individuals who are now supposed to negotiate us sat at the table and did not put $1 of core savings down. If they had additional ideas of core savings, they should have brought it to the table. They failed to do so. They were unwilling to do so. And now at the 11th hour, you're telling me on Friday you need a decision by Monday, 12 p.m. And then he had the nerve to put in brackets noon. I think it's important for members to understand exactly what we're talking about in terms of job cuts or pay cuts and furlough days. You're talking about your representatives went to the table. They put enough money on the table. It wasn't all accepted. Now you're telling us we're short. We're talking about if pay cuts exist, a 19% increase in health insurance come April 1. 19%. It was
to do some damage.
The proposed increase in health insurance is actually in the region of 38%. We said members cannot stomach a 38% increase in health insurance in 1 year. So it was broken down over a multi-year period. We're looking at 19% come April 1 and we're talking about another 19%. 19% is an actual $50 coming out of a person's paycheck on top of furloughs. But if you have, listen, if you have children and other dependents on your health insurance, that number is now triple or double. So some person could be paying hundreds of dollars, an extra $150 for health insurance.
But if you live in two houses,
How does the government,
two government workers in one house.
how does the government expect us to survive? To spend the money where they want to spend money. Brothers and sisters, they're doing it on the backs of the workers. Now there's members in the public that call members of the public sector all sorts of horrible names. Lazy, worthless, overpaid, uneducated, whatever they want to call us. We know who we are, and God knows who we are. But let members of the public, the same members, tell me another group of employees that have given their employer back $31 million. You can't find another group of employees that have done what we've done. If the government intends on taking our money, they intend on picking a fight.
2 years ago.
And we don't intend on backing down. We'll work collectively to the cabinet, and we'll put something on the table for the premier.
Until they have that police dismissal.
And what we had asked them to do is rescind this letter, this disrespectful letter that they sent to the workers, and take furlough days back off the table. We're going under, we're asking for a response, we're waiting for a response. And once that response is given, then we'll activate. We're going to request a response by 2 p.m. today. And when we leave from here now, we're staying there until we get a response.
One thing they will respect if they didn't respect us before today, because sometimes you earn respect and sometimes you command respect. And this is going to be a situation where we're going to command the respect today, because if you go down and say you gave us a deadline of 12, your deadline is now 2 o'clock to give us an answer to rescind further day. So what you always want to be able to do is make sure that we're going to be in the driver's seat. And if we don't have our forefathers doing what they did for us many, many years ago, if you don't have the Rosa Parks and the Martin Luther Kings and those kind of people, and I do understand the frustrations of some of us. We're all tired. But guess what? Even though we're tired, we can't give in. This is serious stuff, and it's time for serious business. Now everybody up here, let's go.